It's humiliating, it's embarrassing, and it's not me. It's not a word that I use, but for some reason it was in there. And that's why I'm trying to figure out as to why it was in there. And it's going to be a part of this process and training program, or whatever I need to do, not only to prove to myself, but to prove to my sponsors and prove to those people that don't know who I am, that is indeed not the person I am. Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we are again talking about Justin Thomas after the use of some homophobic language. We have already, of course, done a video on this, so if you haven't seen that and you want more of the basic information, I recommend checking out that video on my channel. But today we have some more news going on with this debated and, offensive topic news segment going on within the golf industry. So basically, I'll outline it for you quickly and then we'll talk about some of this latest news. Obviously, Justin Thomas in the tournament, the Century Tournament of Champions, the first event in Hawaii, used some homophobic language after missing a putt. This obviously, and quite rightly, caused a big stir, and a lot of people were very offended by this. It was caught on microphone. It wasn't something I think Thomas meant to be heard, but when you're a PGA Tour player, you have cameras and microphones on you pretty much all the time, and it was picked up. Justin Thomas, quite rightly, apologized immediately for this. He apologized a lot. Later, about a week or two later, he was dropped by sponsor Ralph Lauren, who's been sponsoring him, as far as I'm aware, as long as he's been out on the PGA Tour. They released a statement and said that his behavior doesn't follow their values and interests within the company, quite rightly, and they dropped him as a sponsor. But we have some more news today. So another one of Justin Thomas's sponsors, which is Citibank, have continued their sponsorship with Justin Thomas, but they've done it in a way that I believe is quite positive. They have found a good way to not to spin this, but a good opportunity to use this to further educate people and I guess just help show that this kind of behavior is not acceptable. So let me read you a little bit of what's going on. So the investment bank Citi, which you've probably seen on Justin Thomas's clothing or maybe a hat, that's spelled obviously CITI, will continue the sponsorship of Justin Thomas despite his homophobic language earlier this month. Justin has actually agreed to donate a large portion of his earnings to charities associated with LGBTQ. So Justin Thomas will be retained by them. He's agreed to donate a meaningful portion of his earnings to these charities. We don't know what figure or percentage that is at the moment. Hopefully that kind of comes out. Obviously, Ralph Lauren did terminate his contract after this all happened and everything, and Justin has obviously been playing on the European Tour out in Dubai this last week. So Citi's chief marketing officer Carla Hassan revealed that the investment bank did consider terminating their relationship, so they did actually consider dropping Justin Thomas after this happened. But Thomas expressed his remorse and over the whole incident and wanted to become better in the future. So that's how Citibank are telling this story, I guess, how they're trying to make the most out of a bad situation. And to be honest, I think they have probably done the right thing. It would have been very easy and very safe for them to terminate their sponsorship. Obviously, they highly considered that, they just said themselves. But in a company blog, they put apparently titled when an apology isn't enough. They put, "We considered terminating our relationship with him. It would send a clear and important message, but we decided to use this moment to work with Justin to try and create change. We want to make it clear that it is wrong to use this word. Instead, we hope our efforts can lead more people to make an affirmative choice not to use this word or others like it and speak up when others do, because they understand the impact it can have, including on a friend, colleague, teammate who may be struggling with their decision to disclose their sexual orientation." They also said, if at any point we feel Justin is not sincere in working towards this goal, we will end our relationship with him. I think that statement, personally, is very positive. I think they are using a bad opportunity, not a bad opportunity, they're using this bad publicity or experience to try and educate people, try and make the most of it, try and support good causes. And for me, I think that's probably the right thing to do. You know, let me know what you think. Do you think they should have terminated their sponsorship with Justin, similarly to how Ralph Lauren does? I'd love to know your thoughts. Comment them down below. Justin Thomas, obviously, he did apologise after the third and last round at Kapalua, and he, you know, was obviously under the microscope. Rory McIlroy did speak out as well about this and kind of support Justin a little bit, and just kind of, you know, said, you know, they are quite good friends and that is not who Justin is, and, you know, that's not the kind of language he typically uses. So that is kind of good, I guess, you know, to see McIlroy supporting his friend, and also maybe just giving us more of an insight into Justin Thomas as a person, because it's hard for us to gauge sometimes what these PGA Tour players are actually like, and it's very easy when something like this happens to, I guess, assume what someone's entire personality is like through something very small that's happened. And, you know, if we look at ourselves in the mirror, there are times in our lives where we've all made mistakes, every single one of us, we're human, it happens. And, you know, it doesn't define us as a person who we are, one single thing like this happening. But I do believe it is important that it is handled in the right way, that it is shown to not be acceptable. And, you know, to try and make an example of it, but also make the best opportunity of it to further educate people. And, you know, if charities get supported in, you know, caused by this, then, you know, sometimes some good things can come from some negative things. So yeah, that's good to see. Justin also said that he was obviously upset, but at the end of when this is after Ralph Lauren announced their termination of their sponsorship, Justin said, well, first of all, Ralph Lauren said that it is entirely inconsistent with our values, but apparently they're also leaving the door open to possibly renewing their deal with Thomas, providing he does the hard, necessary work to promote inclusion. So we might see Ralph Lauren renewing their sponsorship of Justin in the future. And, you know, if Justin does support these charities and makes meaningful change and does all the right things, then that is something that possibly could happen. After Ralph Lauren did terminate their contract with Justin Thomas, Thomas did say, obviously I was upset, but at the end of the day, they have that right. They had to make the decision that they had to make. I spoke with them along with all of my sponsors. Although I apologized, it's like it was then. It's an opportunity for me to grow, and I felt like it was something we could have done together and gone through that process. They must felt like they needed to move on. That's exactly what I'm doing as well. So it does seem like there's maybe some slight negative feelings between Justin Thomas and Ralph Lauren. Sounds like maybe, obviously, neither of them were very happy with this situation. And yeah, it will be interesting to see if Justin signs with another clothing manufacturer. I mean, obviously not many clothing manufacturers or any companies are really going to want to be associated with all this negative publicity. But I do think Citibank have made a good decision out of a bad situation. And yeah, I kind of respect them for that. It's not been an easy decision, but they've kind of chosen to try and fight for the right reasons. And, you know, it would have been very easy for them to terminate. So let me know what you guys think. Love to know your opinions. Comment them down below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, not much more to say about that. Lots more content coming soon for you guys. So I'll see you in the next video. Remember, as always, guys, grip it and rip it.